Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here at the Second Swing Tour Van, joined by Austin England, online fitter for Second Swing. And we got some new drivers, TaylorMade Qi35. It's always awesome for us and exciting for us when we get new drivers from TaylorMade. So we've got Austin here. We've got some left-handed hitting today, which is a little bit different, but we wanted to give you representation for some lefties out there. You also play a Qi10 currently, Austin. That might be changing after today. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. But what have you liked, I guess, so far from playing Qi10? What are your favorite parts about that, and what are you excited about now, seeing what you've seen so far from about the Qi35?
Yeah, absolutely. The Qi10's been a great driver for me. Got fitted for it last year, and my drives have been immaculate since. It's very forgiving. The carbon face is you can definitely tell that even on a mishit, toe, heel, it's still going to be forgiving enough that it's going to be in the fairway for you. Yeah. So you're not suffering. Right. You know, you're not doing that left to right, the fairway, trying to find the ball.
Yeah, right. Like the way I do sometimes.
Yeah. So it's definitely been very, very, very forgiving that way. So I'm excited to see what the Qi35 is going to bring to that table.
Yeah. So there's a whole new story with Qi35, and they call it the quest for launch for this year, but it's their lowest center of gravity projection ever. They've moved some weight around to obviously improve that MOI. That's the story every year. But now also this year, there's some new adjustable weighting options. You have 13 gram weights, you have 3 gram weights, and some ports, whether you're using the LS or the standard version. You can adjust that weight as you need. Also this year, Chromium Carbon, kind of a new, they're sticking with the carbon. The Carbonwood era is still in effect at TaylorMade, but it's a Chromium Carbon, has a kind of a unique new look to it, a little bit brighter than you're used to. But also they've added some added materials as well. You got some steel, some aluminum, some titanium, all working together in addition with all this carbon. So, and then of course the twist face that you've loved with the carbon is there as well. So now we're gonna hit the LS and the standard head today. Which Qi10 head, are you playing the standard one or the LS one?
I'm playing the standard one.
Standard one. Okay.
I like to say that I can hit there with him, but I need that little extra forgiveness to give me a little bit more confidence on the tee box there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's totally good because we're going to have the LS and the standard today, and what they tell us is the LS is going to be even better for and higher launching, maybe a little bit in the past, while still maintaining that low spin. So we'll see exactly how that compares today. What would you, I guess, anticipate differences, maybe either numbers wise or maybe ball flight wise, between the Qi35 LS and the Qi35 standard for you today?
Yeah, I think the LS, for me personally, I think it's going to be a lower ball flight for me. You're going to see those numbers the spin kind of get a little bit more controlled, and the standard, I think you're going to see a little bit more jump, a little bit more height, compared to off the tee box.
Yeah, for sure. Well, are you ready to hit some tee shots today?
Absolutely.
All right, we got some new stuff, so it's always exciting. Let's see some bombs. Wow, there's a good ball to start.
That one felt good off the face immediately.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really good start. So for you, are you kind of typically living, or you'd like to live in that mid-2000s for spin there?
I do. Yeah. I do. Obviously, I try to say that I can control it.
Yeah.
But the nature of the beast, I like to stay within that kind of range. It feels like comfortable.
Right.
I feel like I can control a little bit more.
Sure.
With that.
Okay.
And like I said, with this carbon face, even a toe shot, heel shot, I can feel it. But looking at the results, I'm not going to be affected.
Yeah, so it's kind of a good balance for you in terms of you get the feedback of, hey, I didn't hit that center, but the performance still kind of saves it.
Yeah, it's still going to be down the fairway.
Yeah.
Might not be as far. Yeah. But I'm not being penalized for it. A little bit to the right.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think your face was maybe just a little closed on that one, but nonetheless, you still got it out there near 300 yards.
Yeah.
Question on just appearance of that driver. So you look down at it. Now that we've talked a little bit about kind of how that Chromium Carbon has a little different color to it, different look to it. What all jumps out at you just putting that one down to the dress and
yeah, absolutely. The shape of the club, I love the shape of the head. Standing behind the ball at address, I feel confident with the club head behind it. That top line, that little white line adds a nice little feature too, where I feel like I can square the club head up on there. It's a nice little feature. I will say the chrome on the hosel is a little much for me.
Okay.
personally.
Yeah.
It's a little shiny, close to the
Interesting.
ball. I feel like that could potentially be a little bit of a, eyesore at some
Yeah.
times. It'd be a little distracting, but love to see how that kind of
Yeah.
affects moving forward. But just little things. Overall, I do like the look of it. I like that kind of gray overall look of it. It's nothing's kind of jumping out at me saying, hey,
Yeah.
flashy, flashy, but it's still clean.
Yeah, because I think that was my big gripe, I guess maybe is the wrong word, but with Stealth and Stealth 2, that red face, it was like
Is in your
that
face.
that was right when my eyes looked at, which I know you want to be looking down that area, but it was just like, oh, red face. I actually do like. I didn't even notice when looking at this, but I'll try to show the camera a little bit here from my perspective. But this white line on top that you're talking about, it does really nicely kind of almost center things for you too. It's very subtle, and you kind of don't even almost notice it. I didn't notice it until you mentioned it, but I kind of like that what you're talking about there. That's pretty good. So
Little subtle things. It's nice.
yeah. Let's get a few more shots here.
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
ball.
So what's interesting there, I'm gonna assume something here. Maybe I'm wrong, but did you maybe miss that one slightly?
That was a toe shot.
Okay.
That one felt
So-
a little toey on that one.
Yeah, so this is exactly what you're talking about then. Because I saw the spin go down, and that's pretty standard with, with a toe shot. That spin's going to be, it's almost like a knuckleball.
Yep.
But
As you can see,
what are you going to complain
it
about?
goes straight, and we're at 300 yards total
Yeah.
after everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
That's,
'cause-
I like that about that.
yeah, you're going to get the distance that you need, and I actually am impressed because a lot of those toe shots sometimes almost they dive for you. They would dive down and right for a right-handed golfer. They might dive down and to the left. That one didn't really curve much.
Yeah.
It was a little lower ball flight for sure, but that's fine.
You're not being penalized
Right.
for that. Where it's like with this carbon face, I feel like even if you hit it off the toe or the heel, if you didn't have that, it'd be generating almost too much spin and causing
Yeah.
either those hooks or those major slices.
Yeah, and that's just even across the board, not even just TaylorMade, but across the board, you just see mishits like that are just so much better with
Yeah.
drivers nowadays.
That MOI.
Obviously you see it with Qi35 here. So
Like
there's a
high
really
ball.
good one. So okay, this is good because I feel like was that also maybe a slight miss?
I felt a little high on the face.
High in the face. Okay.
Yep, maybe a little bit closer to the heel as well.
Yeah. So this
Causing
is
it to pop a
and
little
this is
higher.
good. I know you're trying to hit it a little better than what you are, but you got the ball at a 138 smash, which means there's a lot more potential for you to hit the ball solid and center. You still got 290 yards. You still hit the ball 110 feet in the air, with a 266 carry. So we're kind of finding different areas of the face to see how they perform, which is kind of nice. It's working out this
Absolutely.
way in a sense, and you're still getting the ball. You're hitting fairway after fairway, 290 plus yards.
That's the dream.
There's
That's
no
the dream.
complaints. Yeah. Look at that one.
That one felt good.
Yeah.
Yep. That
So
one
kinda-
felt
yeah.
square on the face there.
Yeah, square on the face. Got spin right around just under 2,000. Total at 294.8. So I'm going to bring up just some numbers here. And then what I'm going to do is, what I like to do sometimes, especially if there's one that's kind of sneaking out there as an outlier, so to speak, I might even just see what things look like without it, which is this one here that you kind of pulled. But here's our best 4 out of the 5 swings. You're looking at a 2,000 spin rate, 293.7 yards total. And these 4 were all, 4 of the 5 here were in the fairway. You had the one maybe that's just hanging out in the right rough. But I guess as you look at numbers here, you reflect on swinging the Qi35. What jumps out at you? Any major takeaways?
Yeah, just overall, just the total distance, even on those missed shots.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing that I'm going to take away from this one.
Yeah.
Toe shot, high on the face, a heel shot. The ball's still going to travel a little bit. You might not get some of the spin, the height
Yeah.
on there, but looking at everything here, we're plus 18 for height
Yeah.
across the board there. The spin, like we said,
Yep.
just around that 2,000 average rate. It's right where we kind of want to be.
Yep.
Overall, I'm very impressed with the performance of it.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth in the sense of I know, like I'm going to bring up kind of the numbers here, but like the smash factor, you hit this one really good. And I think this is kind of the indication of like, here's where your best shot it's going to live. And you hit it, you know, right off the bat, we had, I mean, textbook numbers here. We had 100 feet in the air. We had a 273.4 carry, 297 total, right in that mid-2000s. So you know, I mean, if this is your best shot, this is as good as the numbers get really right here.
I'll take it every
and
day.
then we saw a few mishits where the numbers, you know, your smash factor dipped a little bit just because you were slightly missing the center. But you're losing 4 yards, 7 yards, 2.5 yards. So like when you miss the center of the face, you're just missing a handful of yards. That's fine.
Yeah, you're okay with that.
And you're in the fairway every time. So, all right, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to switch you into the LS head. We're going to see how things compare a little bit there. Ooh, wow, okay. A little more speed on that one right away.
A little bit more speed, a little bit more spin from right off the top too.
Yeah, okay. So a good start there.
Yeah, felt really good.
How was that one? Was that?
I kind of just pushed that one a little bit.
Okay. So talk to me about the feel so far.
It feels smoother, I would say. I mean, I feel like probably less material, a little bit more aero, you know, a little bit more, you know, streamlined a little bit.
Sure.
Makes it a little smooth transition on there. But I can definitely feel a little bit. It's a little bit lighter head, even though it has a little bit more weight. Oddly enough, it just seems a little.
Okay.
Little smoother
I mean, you
swing.
can kind of that makes sense. That's again all feedback welcome on that because golfers are goofy in that some like certain things, some don't like certain things. So okay, yeah. First couple swings there, I was curious because we do have a little bit more spin and height on those first couple swings.
Yeah, I was a little
I know
surprised.
you had a couple like toe shots with the standard that might have been bringing that down a little bit.
Right.
But maybe you know we'll hit a few more and we'll see if that kind of manages itself a little bit or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some ball speed, some distance, just a slight pull. I think, based on just your face angle being a little open is really the difference there. But certainly a low piercing ball flight there for sure.
Yeah, once again, you know, kind of like what I was alluding to earlier. You know, lower ball flight, less spin.
Yeah.
I think players are going to be able to control the ball a little bit more with this that are looking to lower those spin rates and lower that kind of height for them.
And again, this is more of a first impressions, you know, obviously in a true fitting. We'd be working with a different shaft. We'd be putting that in. We'd be working with the hosel and really manipulating things. This is more of a test just to compare the heads off the rip here. But, I mean, the consistent distance on everything so far has been good. Like the Qi35 wasn't penalizing you for a mishit, and so far even the LS being a little bit less forgiving is rewarding you as well for just swinging it basically.
Yeah, that distance is definitely something.
It's easy distance. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, you're not going to be upset with being 300 yards off the tee box.
Is that a little heel ball potentially?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
So I like that one because now the spin is up. I think you've hit a couple towards maybe the bottom of the club face here. But this one you lost, call it 10 yards total. I've seen that exact shot do a lot worse before. I think even you could go back to Stealth. That was my Stealth and Stealth 2. That was one thing I noticed was you hit the ball on the heel or lower on the face, and spin goes way up to the mid 3000s, and the distance drops maybe 20 yards. So I think there's still an element of added control and consistency that we're seeing with Qi35. I mean, you saw it with a couple maybe that were different misses with the standard model. The LS is managing things on the low face kind of heel shot, I think.
Absolutely. And I agree with you here. I think the missed shots with the newer technology, you're not going to be penalized. Like you said, a couple yards here and there, 10 yards, but a heel shot that's going to be down the center of the fairway, you can't complain with that.
Let's get a couple more here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a really good one. That's your furthest one of the day right there.
That one felt good.
Yeah.
Little open face.
A little bit, but you know the spin. That's what's good about that. Though the spin stayed down despite the kind of open face, and so because you typically will see that spin actually go up when you have the face open. Here it really didn't, and it gave you, I think that's the furthest one of the day in terms of total distance. I know carry is close. But yeah, I mean, you're kind of in the 160s pretty consistently here for the ball speed.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe you were with the Qi35.
No, and that. Like I said, with this one, I feel like you can generate more speed with this one, and just that smash factor is gonna go out, out the roof there.
Yeah, yeah, that was an efficient one for sure. Again, most of these tee shots are like totally in play.
I'll take every single one of these.
290 to 300 yards in the fairway. Like that's kind of what I've seen every single tee shot here. So we got some numbers here. I guess in summary, I want you to give me just a comparison of the hitting experience, so to speak, of Qi35 LS and then also the standard model. I mean, we talked about it throughout, but what was your kind of takeaway from comparing the two?
Yeah, absolutely. I like both head models. I like all of them here that we tested today. Personally, I think from my playing style, I think the standard is going to fit my playing ability a little bit better. Needless to say, the LS still performed.
Yeah, it did.
The same, I would say.
Yeah.
Missed shots, you're still not suffering.
Yeah.
For me personally, it was a little bit spread out compared to the standard, but
this is why they have multiple driver heads.
Absolutely.
We have in the Qi35 Max is even another option that we don't unfortunately have with us today to do, but another option for golfers, especially that one's going to be for players that there's a more weight in the heel, could be some draw bias there, but nonetheless, clearly some good performance both ways. Let's bring up so we've got dispersion map on the right here. And what I'm going to do too, since to be fair, right, we have 4 out of 5 here. Let's do 4 out of 5 over here. We've got, let's see, maybe this one is kind of our, so to speak, outlier. And so here's our dispersion map. And you're right in the sense of, and that's kind of typical. A lower spin head will be a little less forgiving. That dispersion map might be a little bit more wayward and left to right direction. But numbers-wise, I think what we've seen, despite the spin was maybe a little bit up, that could be hit location related on a couple of swings. The launch was lower. The launch was lower, and I believe the peak height was also lower. No, it was not lower, a little bit higher.
A little higher.
So we have a little lower launching head. We also gained more speed. Both, you actually swung it a little faster, and you kind of mentioned there's maybe a certain sense of just naturally able to swing it with some more speed, but also the ball speed was higher and more efficient for you. And then I just like this map too of things were pretty consistent. Like even your misses, the distance didn't drop off much, but then your tighter oval was with the Qi35, which to you was the one that fit you a little bit better. So it makes a lot of sense what we're seeing right now. What else jumps out at you when you look at this, either the map, the numbers? There's a lot of stuff up there to kind of reflect on, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, just kind of touching on it again, just the total distance. I mean, carry and total yards. Both head models, I mean, they're roughly the same on there. I think that's a big thing that kind of jumps out here. Overall, I love the feel of them. It's a very forgiving club. I've been very impressed with this.
I also, for what it's worth, I changed this to total as well, and you can see how tight that oval gets. That's really good. I mean, that is some serious, consistent dispersion, and for what it's worth, your kind of deviation here, this is kind of your plus minus average deviation, 2.7 on a club that's going almost 300 yards is pretty incredible. So seriously, some consistency here with the Qi35 drivers. Obviously, the Max would be the same, and then Max Lite as well, as we do more content with that. We'll get those models involved, but to get the first impression from Austin here, some really good testing, I think, for sure.
Absolutely. Might have found the new club in the bag here.
Oh, yeah? All right, so Austin testing complete there. We've got Qi35. They've changed a lot with it compared to Qi10 and then actually back into the Stealth. The Carbonwood era is still here, but they've certainly upgraded it some. We talked about it already, but just quick thoughts on the testing before we kind of go model by model here.
Yeah. Once again, I believe that TaylorMade has done a really good job with the Qi35 line, comparing from the Qi10, leaps and bounds that they took last year from the Stealth 2.
Yeah.
I think that carbon face is definitely a good integrated piece that they are standing by, and it shows. Miss hits, still going to go those distance. They're not going to be penalized for that. Carbon face.
Yeah.
Very interesting from that shiny.
Yeah, that kind of crown there
had.
Instead of the shiny. They've definitely changed that. And to your point too on the look, that white line kind of right there. I keep looking at it and I'm like, yeah, it's a sneaky, subtle thing that they've added, but looks wise, I think that's going to help a lot of players with alignment or just centering the ball at address a little bit. Some cool things there as well.
Absolutely.
So, all right, so let's kind of get into each model here of the TaylorMade Qi35 drivers. So we'll start with the LS. That's the one you actually just hit. The Qi35 LS driver. After hitting it, what you've seen from it, what type of golfers are going to be best benefiting from that one?
Yeah, I would suggest that the LS model is going to be for someone who's going to look to minimize their spin off the club face. Someone that's going to be struggling with that control and that entire spin rate. I think is going to be the best fit for them.
Yeah, probably a player that might be even have like a high ball flight. Maybe bringing that down. We saw the launch was lower in the testing with the LS, so certainly some things in play there. Now the standard model, Qi35. You said this one's going to fit yourself. This probably also fits a wide range of players, but what type of player can be best benefiting from that one?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the kind of more average golfer. Someone who's just out there for forgiveness, I think is the kind of the big thing on that one. As I mentioned before, the club head is bigger at address. It's more, forgiving in that sense. Gives me a little bit self-confidence of like I have more material behind the ball to create a solid contact.
And then we also, again, we don't have the Qi35 Max, unfortunately. That will be involved in some content in the future, but the Max head, a little bit more weight in the heel for potentially those players that might slice the ball, and that's, I guess, also another forgiveness factor there. I imagine players that are struggling, just finding the club face a little bit, probably going to use the Qi35 Max.
Yep, I agree. Someone who's struggling with a slice or like a really sharp hook or something like that, struggling to find that face. Max is obviously going to be a little bit more than just that standard material as well. Once again, boating to the more material behind the ball, more confidence swinging. Yeah,
and it's also worth noting again, this is in terms of a club fitting. There's adjustable weighting on the head itself, but also the hosel where we can do all kinds of things as fitters. And then lastly, we should also mention the Qi35 Max Lite is going to be for a slow to moderate swing speed. So that one, if you're maybe really losing speed or you're really trying to gain some speed, you're kind of in that moderate or slower range. That's another option for you here with the Qi35 series. So Austin, thank you for joining us today. This was awesome.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having
me. Qi35 was great to have you as a Qi10 player to kind of get your take on it. Maybe we'll see Qi35 in your bag this year. Who knows?
We might.
Awesome. Golfers, schedule a fitting with someone at second swing. Get dialed in with Qi35 Driver in 2025. Austin, thanks again, man.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.